of a mind to and sing with us.
Some
I think about that? Let go. So today is our Fist Bump with God Day, right? I just made that up. It just came to me, Denise. We're going to brand it. We're going to let her rip tater chip. You know what else today is? Today is the 5th day of Christmas. Do we have 5 golden rings present in this room right now? One? All of them are on Charlotte Schneider. So we're golden. We're good to go on this 5th day of Christmas. It is also the day of our burning bowl ceremony. And let me tell you, this is such a special day. We have people coming in all the way from the coast to join us. That's right. Sharon and Missy are here. And of course, Darby. Don't miss Darby. We're so glad that you are here today. This is a special, special day. Every year, this becomes more and more special for me. I was reading something just last night about Zen, and it said the yogi's idea of Zen begins with intention. And today is all about intention, isn't it? So I'm really happy to be here. I'm also happy to tell you that Vic Sorrell's in the house. It hardly gets any better than that. It hardly gets any better than that right there. I got a few other quick announcements for you. First off, Friday, January 10th is our next NCP Energy Wellness Center. Energy healing practitioners are available for short sessions on a first-come basis. Now, the last time we talked about this, it was a Reiki clinic, or the last time I talked about it. We've got stuff other than Reiki happening?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, she says. Acupuncture will be in this corner. I have no idea, but there will be, pardon me?
We could do that if you want. Your
Oh.
acupuncture. I like it.
Great. Awesome. I'm coming then. But anyway, put it on your calendar. January 10th, our NCP Energy Wellness Center. We know there'll be Reiki practitioners here and all other kinds of energy healing practitioners as well. Come on out and join us. Also, we've got a sign-up list, I believe, out in the foyer for the Dodson Chapel Food Pantry. I guess we are in charge of that on January 11th. So if you would like to be a part of that, please sign up for that as well. And then finally, I've mentioned Vic Sorrell. Today's the Burning Bowl service. There are no Wednesday classes at this time, lunch bunch or Wednesday evening, so take those off the calendar for the moment. Let's get up and sing again. You know, I was also reading yesterday, come on, stand up. I was also reading yesterday that from Facebook, the purveyor of all news, I was reading that when people sing together, that there's kind of a communal oxytocin that gets flowing, and that we actually get our heartbeats in sync with each other, and we are more likely to survive together, to thrive together as a community when we sing together. So let's sync up our heartbeats, shall we?
There are no chains that bind I always look forward to this service because all I really have to do is direct traffic. Seriously. So, know that if you have not gotten one of these pieces of paper, you probably need to raise your hand because everybody needs one of these. This is what you're willing to release right now. This is what you will eventually go through those doors and take a left and go out on the front because we were afraid it might rain. And burn this up in the burning bowl. That means you're releasing it. So this you need to start with. When you come back from the burning bowl, there will be somebody that will meet you before you get back in the sanctuary and will hand you something that looks like this. It will be an envelope and a piece of imagination blue paper. This is your letter to the God within you of your intentions for 2020. On this envelope, you need to put your address. And that's all, because we'll put the church address on it. And when we do the offering, blessing, and do the sacred walk of abundance, they will go in this bowl with the money. Okay? This again is your intentions for 2020. I don't know if any of you are following astrology or anything, but this is going to be a big year. A huge year. If you haven't already felt it, just go outside and stand naked in the grass. You will feel it. And your neighbors will call the police. But anyway. I call it my Reset Reboot Recalibrate year. Because that's what I'm doing. But I believe that everybody will be doing that same thing. And then eventually you will need one of these. Because as a good unity minister, I'm going to tell you, this you will put in this bowl and you'll forget about. This you need to put a step or two that you're willing to do over the next few months. Because if you don't put action behind this, the universe is not going to think you're serious. So this is an action step, at least one or two. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to ask you to share one or two of those action steps with somebody close to you. So you may want to start scouting out who you trust. You also might want to scout out somebody that you know that will keep your fanny to the fire for 2020. That would be what I would do. Is who would call me and say, have you done that step yet? And if you don't have one of those kind of friends, you need one. So scout out in this room, see if you see that. So, this service is a little bit different. There's not a lot of me blah, blah, blah in it. There's a lot of you doing processes. But it's going to be beautiful. And so now I'm going to ask you to come read the sacred reading.
At the end of 2019.
Turn it on.
Here we are again. Still, at the end of 2019. Celebrating together and saying goodbye to another year. Today we'll be turning resolutions into realities. Are you ready? So the affirmation. As I let go of the past, I step into a future of infinite possibilities. Together. As I let go of the past, I step into a future of infinite possibilities. You may have heard that the universe abhors a vacuum. Not the kind we use to clean our homes. The kind of vacuum I'm speaking of is a void to be filled by Holy Spirit when we are willing to let go. On Christmas Eve at our candle lighting service, we affirmed, I release the things that keep me separate from love. The power of release, better known as elimination, is represented by Herod in the Christmas story. Herod was filled with fear because the world was changing around him, and he attempted to stop it at every turn. His inability to love in the midst of obstacles in his own mind led him to try to stop the growth and development of the Christ child. Sound familiar? Isn't there a little bit of Herod in each of us? How do we stop the advancement of the Christ presence in our hearts and minds? Today is the day that we release and let go of the past. A cleansing and purifying process called a burning bowl service. When we are willing to release all doubts and fears, we begin to notice a lightness or gladness of heart. This lightness leads us to continue to let go of anything that does not serve our forward movement towards our purpose and passion. As we continue to release anything and everything that stands in the way of our good, very soon the vacuum or void begins to be filled by Holy Spirit, filled with what you ask, filled with the desires of our hearts. Let's begin today by first letting go. We can turn out New Year's resolutions. We can turn our New Year's resolutions into realities. And from Mark 9:23, all things are possible to him or her who believes.
And so today, our meditation is going to be about resetting. And before you close your eyes, if you look at that picture, you can see that that energy is circling around and coming right into that person's heart center. And so if your heart center is open, that's what's going to happen. If you have things you need to forgive, that needs to go first. And there is no judgment here about which one of those is happening for you. It just is what it is. And so I ask each of us to do a reset breath first. If you've never been here and done a reset breath with us, it's about exhaling first. Getting rid of all of the air that's in you so that this fresh air can come in and rejuvenate you. So let's do a reset breath. And then as you close your eyes, just allow your breath to center within you. And just pay attention to what's going on within your physical body first. How is my body feeling? Does my body feel supported in the chair that I'm sitting in? And if not, I give myself time to move and adjust. And then I pay attention to my mind. What's going on in my mind right now? Are my thoughts racing or are they calm? And so in this very moment, I just allow them to be what they are. I even let them know I see you. Just let them pass on through. And we drop those 18 inches to our heart space. Just begin to allow yourself to breathe in to your heart space. Because it is your heart, not your mind, that knows, that it knows, that it knows. Your heart actually will let you know if there's something that's standing in the way of love. And that might be one of those things you want to put on your paper to burn up in the burning bowl. Because as we let go of the past, we step into a future of infinite possibilities. And so again, I wrap my heart around that. And I pay attention. Is my head trying to talk to me? Is my head trying to tell me that there are things that I want desperately to do in the new year that I feel are impossible? And so I pay attention to where that vibration is, because it's not in your heart. Your heart is open to infinite possibilities. And those possibilities come through love. And so as we go into this time of silence, just give the Holy Spirit room to work. It's not I, but the Christ within, the Holy Spirit, that does the work. In the silence. In the silence. So I'm going to ask you to start bringing your attention back to your physical body. If you heard that beautiful dog bark, that dog gets it. The Holy Spirit has already moved in with that dog because there's nothing to stand in the way. Those of you that have dogs understand that process. They are pure. And so this morning I have asked Vic to come and sing a song right here. And I want you still to be open to what might happen during this process that might need to go on your paper. Because this is a piece of letting go.
Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The Buddha, I think, said that. And I sat down this morning to think about this song and what inspired the song and how the song actually came to be. That's what came to mind, because that quote has been probably the most powerful visual and concept for me to understand that forgiveness is an inside job. And they may not deserve your forgiveness, but you deserve your forgiveness. And so much of this teaching is about us realizing the power of our experience of being worthy. Once we deserve, once we are worthy, forgiveness will be the only option. And it will happen quickly, and it will happen. It won't necessarily happen effortlessly, I wanted to make sure that I was saying something that was true. But it will be the only option. It will be the only option no matter what it takes. Loving yourself is worth whatever it takes. Loving yourself is worth whatever it takes. This song is called I Forgive the Past. Some of you may remember a few years ago when I had the beautiful experience of making music in a group called Source with a wonderful co-writer and partner, Kenya Walker. When we wrote this song together, it actually happened in about 20 minutes. And the intention was to include a song on our project that we were working to create together, to co-create. A song that could facilitate our own forgiveness, because we were very much in a place of recognizing the power and the importance of cleaning out the psyche, cleaning out the body vessels so that we were available for the insights, so that we were available for the inspiration, so that we were available for that highest learning, right, and awareness. Forgiveness helps that happen. It helps cleanse us, right? So we wrote this song in about 20 minutes. It's called I Forgive the Past. And perhaps it will serve you today. Perhaps another day you'll wish that you could hear this song, and you can on Spotify.
Nice segue.
I Forgive the Past, Source. That's what you search for. I Forgive the Past, Source. I think that's plenty. So here's I Forgive the Past. And thank you to Judy and the fellas for their beautiful, beautiful gifts this morning. I forgive the past and all I can't take back. I'm better for the good times that we had. I'm open to this moment, letting go at last. I forgive the past. And this was one of my lines. I forgive the past and the fear that held me back, and choosing less than I was meant to have. We've all done that. I'm open to this moment, letting go at last. I forgive the past. And I can't go back there. I should know I've tried, but I can't offer my amends as soon as I decide I forgive the past. And that was, I can offer my amends as soon as I decide I forgive the past. Yes, I forgive the past and the fear that held me back, and choosing less than I was meant to have. I'm open to this moment, letting go at last. I forgive the past.
verse is saying, allow me to flow through you unrestricted. That's what this is about. What is it within me that might be restricting the flow? So I wanted you to hear that song, because it spoke to that. And you will see the greatest magic you have ever seen. Do you believe in magic?
Yes.
We are magic. And if I'm not showing up magical, it's I gotta let something go. Because the baggage sometimes that I have held is what's stopping me. And I know that you've heard me say this before, but that person that you're not willing to forgive, they're going out and living their life and having a big old time. And when I figured that out, I was like, this is stupid for me to be mad at this person because they don't care. They don't care. And you know the other thing that happened when we did the 12-step class on Wednesday night? We talked about that. A lot of times when you go up to the person and say, I'm here to forgive you, they're like, for what? I don't even know what you're talking about. They have no idea. Or I want you to forgive me for what, honey? I don't know what you're talking about. That person gets it. Not me. Because I'm the one that's looking. So now I'm going to ask Pat Upchurch to come. Because in a moment, know that Missy Bratton is on the job today. Those of you that remember her being here, she is out there with the burning bowl getting it ready for all of us. Because this is what's going in. And Pat's going to get us ready for that.
We're going to go through this, and there's a chorus. I'll do the chorus a couple of times, then you're going to see me heading in the back. Oh. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God. If you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go. Come on, let it all go. And this is what you might want to say. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life. Come on, let's sing. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light, and I'm free in the Spirit. Spirit, I'm only here for God.
I release, I let go, I let the Spirit flow my life. My heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light, and I'm free in the Spirit. I'm only here for God. I release, I let go. Come on now. I let the Spirit come in my life, and I'm free in the Spirit. I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light, and I'm free in the Spirit. I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Come on, I let go of my life, and my heart is open wide. And I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light, and I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, come on, I let go, I let the Spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. And I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light, and my heart is open wide. I'm only here for God.
play some nice, lovely letter writing song, and that's what I think. And that's okay with me. So when you came in, you should have gotten something that looked like this. A piece of imagination blue paper and an envelope. Remember, your name needs to go on that envelope before you put your letter in it. We have always called this a letter to God, but that's not some big old God sitting on a cloud out there that's going to be the magician that's going to bring everything to you. Guess who's going to have to bring everything to you? You. Which is why you have this little 3x5 card, because once you put your intentions here on this letter, you're going to eventually put a step or two. The example I have given for many years is I've heard people come in my office and say, I want to go to Italy. And I'm like, have you ever called an agent to even see about going or know what it costs to fly on a plane? Or, no. I'm like, well, maybe that's step one. We all put intentions out there. I want a blah-de-blah-de-blah. But an action step will go on this card. At least one, maybe two. If you want to know how to go outside of America and see wonderful things, talk to Carl Appelt back there, because he does it all the time. Right, Carl? Somehow or other, he knows how to do that. So, anyway. The reason we do this piece is because a universal principle that says energy flows where intention goes. If I put my intention out there, my energy will follow that and flow with it. My energy and the energy of the universe. So, as you are writing, I also want you to pay attention, because I've asked Vic to sing a song here also to help joggle your mind a little bit about this process.
The most perfect time to pour coffee down down the front of your shirt is right before you're asked to sing. So I've learned today. I forgive the past. So that's one thing I really love about this room. You can be all that you are. All that you are, and you will be loved. And you will be celebrated, and you will be affirmed. And imagine what it would be like if you were that presence in your own life every day. And every day you wake up and you look in the mirror and you say, you know what? You have my permission. Not only my permission, but my blessing to be all that you are. And you're saying this to yourself, and you will be safe, and you will be loved, and you will be affirmed, because I'm willing to do everything in my power to allow your dreams to come true. Can you imagine saying that to yourself in a mirror every day? I'm willing to do everything in my power to allow your dreams to come true.
He did it now.
But let me take it a step further, because there's a lot of thought leaders that are speaking in huge rooms and have huge online following and all of this, that, and the other, that would submit that doing just that is the answer. The answer to the big, big, big problems in the world, if we all are willing to look in the mirror every day and say, I'm willing to do everything I can in my power to allow your dreams to come true, because basically that's meaning you will do your part. That is your unique part of the blueprint that is written and waiting to be downloaded, right, from the higher realm, from all that is. We each have a part of that blueprint that only we can contribute. And so until we are each willing to do everything and anything we can to make our dreams come true, our part will not be done, because, friends, our dreams are our part. Our truest heart's desires are our part. And that can be as grand as the biggest, most boldest, most audacious thing you can think of, and it can be as small as smiling to at least 10 people today. And that's not small. You know, that's not small. But it's whatever is your truest, authentic heart's desire. And it definitely, definitely, definitely won't happen the way that only you can make it happen, unless you're willing to do everything you can to allow your dreams to come true. There's a treasure map hidden in the depth of your soul.
when you find that man and you take that path, it will lead you to the golden heart of hearts, overflowing with knowing and bliss. If you get that far, keep going, remembering this. Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says. And when the ones you trust to be fair and just turn on you, and you're all alone in the great unknown, and you don't know what you should do, find your heart of hearts, overflowing with knowing and bliss. And if you get that far, just keep going, remembering this. Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says. It tells you who you're meant to be, and gives you the strength to believe. Hear this. Don't settle for less than your dreams. Do what your heart says you should do. It's the most precious part of you. That's where the answers come, when your thoughts are calm and you're searching for the truth. Do what your heart says.
So your letter should go in an envelope with your name on it. And then you still have this little 3x5 card. This is something I added to this service about 2-3 years ago, and I think it's really one of the most important parts. Because if you don't decide 1 or 2 steps you can take over the next 2 or 3 months to lead you to what you just wrote in that letter, it will not happen. I can promise you, because you'll forget about it. And here's what stops us. I can't see all that yet, so I'm just going to hang out here where it's comfortable. Right? I'm just going to stay here because, I don't really like it here, but, it's comfortable, so I'm just going to keep it. Take a step. 1 step. Maybe 2. And then see what happens. Because movement allows for the vision to expand. Can you hear that? I've got to take a step for my vision to even start getting bigger, because right here in this place, all I see is right where I am. And I'm scared to move. But the minute I take one movement, the universe went, ooh, 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 ooh. She's moving. And expansion creates more imagination, because once I've moved from this spot to this one, I see new things and I go, oh, and that, and that, and that. And imagination forms what? You're not going to keep moving if you're not excited, I can promise you. If there are Eeyores in the room, give yourself an enema and get over there, because it takes you being 62 to be able to say that from the pulpit. But seriously, if you're walking around all the time like this, get over yourself. Because you're never ever going to get there. I see people all the time posting things on Facebook, and I'm like, when are you going to let go of the victimhood and take control of your own life? You're the only one that can. The rest of us can't do it for you. Excitement creates what? Enlightenment. You become more light. If you haven't laughed, laugh more. I promise some of you, I think your face might break if you smile and laugh that much, but I promise you it won't. Some of you come in here on Sunday morning and you look like this. I've got to be holy. No. Not in here, of all places. Please, no. No. Just be you. That is holy. Do you get that? You, whoever you are, is holy. Yay! Warts and all, it's all holy. And enlightenment allows your light to what? That's how this works. These are some of my words, but I believe that this is what happens to us when we stay here and go, oh, I'm going to write this lovely letter to God, and I'm going to put it in a bowl, and the church is going to mail it to me in July, and I'm going to go, did I write that? I've heard people tell me that. Did I really write that? You don't even remember what you wrote. So spend a little bit of time writing at least one step on this, or maybe two, and find somebody. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. Find somebody you can share that step with that will hold you responsible for the next 2 or 3 months to do it.
Picture behind it, or you want just the words? I'll email it to you.
I'm sure. Give yourself an email. There.
When I type in Dave, I get your send it.
to the last piece here. This is from one of my dear mentors and friends, Edwin Games. And know that some of you are knowing that Judy and I, after this service, will no longer be full-time here. But we will be here on Sunday mornings for a while. And what I'm going to be teaching on Sunday mornings is the art of abundance. Creating a life that's worth living. But you have to know that you're worth it, like he was talking about. So you have to do your mirror work. But I'm going to tell you what Edwin says abundance is. Having a vitally alive, healthy body for the God being that we are to express through. Anybody here doesn't want that? Anybody go, man? Relationships that are joyous, satisfying, intimate, honest, and nurturing, and that work all the time. Nah, I don't want that, right? I like them to be hard to work with. What if you set that intention for the year? Work that we love so much, it's not work but play. Woohoo! Does that not sound fun? Okay, this last one is the one that anytime Edwin talks, or anytime I talk about this, people go, well, we're so enlightened we can't have that. Because it's not spiritual to have money, right? That's what I've heard for years. It's not spiritual to talk about money or to have money. So I'm going to read this out loud for a minute. All the money we can spend. Is there anybody here that goes, no, I don't want that?
Yes.
Why would you not want that? If for no other reason, I could give to places that I want to give to. Does that make sense? I have a dear, dear friend, who is Missy's friend too, Jennifer McCoy, who told me when she graduated from college, her deepest desire was to be prosperous beyond anything she could imagine. You know why? Because she wanted to be philanthropic.
Yes.
And so every year, she raises money for St. Jude. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for St. Jude every year. Judy and I have gone to the banquet 2 or 3 different times. That's what I'm talking about. If I can have all the money I can spend, it can flow through me back out into the world, which we talk about here. And then people come and put $1 in the bowl. Is that how you want to be prospered? Put $1 in the bowl? Just think about that. Think about that. Because if what I give, I'm going to get back. I don't know about y'all, but I want to get more than $1. I do.
Yes.
Edwin talks about giving back. She shares that to experience those 4 things we just talked about, you have to give back to the people and places and experiences that have blessed you on your journey. So I want you to think about that this morning. Before we do this sacred walk of abundance. I don't talk about money here too much. But I also know that there are people that don't want to give. And there are people that give more so that those people that don't want to give, we can still survive. Does that make sense? But it doesn't make sense, really. Because if you truly want a spiritual community, you have to give to it. Not just money. Your time. Your talents. And your treasures. I also have people that say, we want bloody-bloody. And when I say, well, then maybe you should do that. Oh, no. I don't have time to do that. Now, I'm preaching, I know. If you want more time, what do you have to give?
Time.
Duh. If you want more talents, what do you have to give? If you want more money, what do you have to give? That's the way the universe works, but we don't want it to work that way. Do we? We're going, no, this is mine. This is mine, mine. It's really not any of ours. It belongs to the universe. So I ask you this morning, as you are beginning to think about putting your letter in, setting your intention into the universe, giving back to the places that you have been blessed, and this is not going to be the only one, but this is going to be one of them, or your butt wouldn't be sitting here in the chair. Does that make sense? Where are you blessed?
I think that's an excellent opportunity for us to take the offering, don't you? Keep in mind, have your letter ready. I've got my letter self-addressed, like this, right? Self-addressed. We put our letters in there as well. If you'll take your tithes, gifts, offerings, letters, anything else you want to put in there, I guess, in your hand and say the offering affirmation with me. Not anything, not anything. Yeah. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me.
going to take a moment to bless these tithes and offerings. So up in your hands and your hearts and your minds. And just know that this abundance in creating a life that you know is worth living is a trust walk every day. And so we're all learning and we're all growing. And so we see these offerings being blessed by the energy of love in this room. We see each of us in these seats and those standing in the back being blessed by love in this room and in your heart. Knowing that it's all about love. And that today we affirm that we choose love over fear every time. Every time. Every time. And so it is. Amen. So, I had to put that picture up there. Judy and I have been so blessed to have Vic Sorrell in our lives. He has no idea how much he has blessed us. And I knew he was the right and perfect person to come and bless us on this Burning Bowl service. Know that this is Vic's partner, Vaughn. And this is Moose and Miles, whom we got to meet the other night at their house. And they are delightful. And Vic, one of the reasons I wanted him so desperately to be here today is several years ago, recorded a New Year's Eve song that is absolutely perfect for this moment.
So, thank you for that. That was a surprise, a very sweet surprise. And Vaughn is working today, otherwise he would be here with us. And he sends his best and his love. Moose and Miles, I had no idea how wonderful it could be to have two puppies at the same time. But, you know, really, I thought it was going to be so much more work, but really you do the same thing the same amount of times. You just make 2 bowls of food, and you open the door the same amount of times. And, you know, it's wonderful.
Hush, Vic. Hush.
Yeah, we love them. But really, you talk about joy. So much joy in watching them. And I've had puppies before, but I think it has a lot to do with the time in my life. And sometimes when we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s, we just kind of, it gets past us. But I'm trying to pay better attention. And so this song, I'll just say, was written by Kenya Walker and Angela Cassett. I didn't have a part in birthing this song, but I certainly have been blessed by this song. A beautiful video. Kenya and Vicky, I didn't remember that I was going to say her name today, and I can't remember her last name at the moment, but anyway, Kenya and Vicky made a beautiful video of this song, which you can find if you Google Vic Sorrell, Happy New Year. And so I want to send love to Kenya, I want to send love to Vicky and Angela Cassett and everybody that had a hand in creating this beautiful, beautiful song, and I'm grateful that I get to sing it every now and then, so thank you for that. Are we ready? All right. Here we are at the ending, waiting and watching the time. All of us here saying goodbye to a year of our lives. And there'll be fireworks, I feel it coming. But this is our year, so let's hit it running. And we'll ring out the old, bring in the new. Let true forgiveness begin. We'll let go of the bad, hold to the good, believe in the magic
magic within. Let hope replace fear, and let it start here. Let's make this a happy. One more time. Bring out the old, bring out the old, bring in the new and true. Forgiveness begin. Let go the bad, let go the bad, to the good, the magic within. Let hope replace fear. Oh, let it start here. Let's make this a happy. We can make it happen. So let's make this a happy new year. Thank you, lovely voices.
Say it with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all